Carol Ann, the beast is calling. Carol Ann, Carol Ann, she can hear songs sing. Carol Ann, the beast it needs you. Here it comes, reaching out, somewhere from inside your TV. The afterlife is a subject that has held human interest for as long as civilization has existed. What happens to us when we die? Does human consciousness simply vanish into the void, or do we linger, wanting more? Those are questions that today's film deals with. Poltergeist is a 1982 supernatural thriller directed by Tobe Hooper and co-written and produced by Steven Spielberg. The plot focuses on a suburban family whose home is invaded by spirits, and things take a dark turn when one of them abducts the youngest child and takes her back to the spirit realm. The family soon enlists the help of a group of parapsychologists and a medium to rescue the daughter from the malevolent spirit, which the medium dubs the Beast. The film's idea originated in Night Skies, an unproduced follow-up to Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Since Close Encounters was a hit, Columbia Pictures wanted to follow up with a sequel. Like he had with Jaws, Spielberg had no interest in directing a second film, but at the same time he did not want a sequel made without his input. He quickly came up with a sci-fi horror treatment based on the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, which Spielberg had heard of while conducting research for Close Encounters. In this UFO incident, a Kentucky farm family claimed they had been terrorized by a group of gremlin-like aliens. In Spielberg's treatment, aliens communicated with animals in an attempt to figure out if Earth contained any sentient life. They soon came across a farm family and began to dissect their animals. Lawrence Kasdan was Spielberg's first choice to flesh his treatment out into a full-fledged script, but he was already at work writing The Empire Strikes Back. In his place, Spielberg hired John Sayles, who had previously written Piranha. Sayles' inspiration to write his script was the 1939 western Drums Along the Mohawk, and he went so far as to name one of the aliens Scar, after a Comanche in a John Wayne film. His draft also included an alien who killed animals by touching them with its glowing fingers, and an alien who befriended an autistic boy. Sadly, this was to be Sayles' only crack at the story, as he and Spielberg parted amicably over creative differences in mid-1980. While Sayles worked on his script, Spielberg consulted with special effects master and Oscar winner Rick Baker to design the alien effects. Baker was beginning work on An American Werewolf in London at the time, but managed to build a prototype alien for about $70,000. Spielberg, who by this time was filming Raiders of the Lost Ark on location, was thrilled when he saw a video of the creature effect, but was beginning to have second thoughts about the Night Skies concept. As he put it, I've got to get back to the tranquility, or at least the spirituality, of Close Encounters. While on the Raiders set, Spielberg read the script to Melissa Matheson, Harrison Ford's then fiancée, and the boy-alien friendship supposedly brought her to tears. This finalized Spielberg's decision, and once Raiders shooting wrapped, he closed the door on Night Skies, but not before getting into a fight with Rick Baker in his effects shop. Spielberg had wanted Baker to follow him to his revamped Alien idea, which became E.T., and was angered by Baker's lack of enthusiasm. Baker soon found himself locked out of his own shop, and his Night Skies designs were confiscated. Looking at pictures of the designs that Baker published on his Twitter, it's obvious that some of them were used. While I respect Spielberg as a director, I have to call him out on this disrespectful and distasteful move. It's one thing if you are unable to reach a work agreement with the man, but stealing his work and modifying it so another can take the credit is low. While it was exercise from its alien roots, the family being terrorized idea did not go to waste. It was revamped into Poltergeist. Spielberg was unable to direct because of a clause in his contract with Universal over E.T. Tobe Hooper of Texas Chainsaw Massacre fame stepped into the director's chair. Hooper had been under consideration to direct Night Skies, so it is fitting that he helmed one of its successor projects. Despite having sole credit, to this day, various members of the cast and crew claim that Spielberg ghost-directed the film, using Hooper as a front to get around his contract. The Directors Guild of America probed into the matter, but found no reason why Spielberg should receive co-directing credit. When asked about the matter, Spielberg said, "Toby isn't a take-charge sort of guy. If a question was asked and an answer wasn't immediately forthcoming, I'd jump in and say what we could do. Toby would nod in agreement, and that became the process of our collaboration. Considering what had happened with Baker, I wouldn't put it past Spielberg to lie about how much control he had over the film, but at the end of the day, I don't think it matters. Spielberg and Hooper wanted virtually unknown actors for the cast to help give the film a sense of realism to off-balance the ghost story. If the audience saw well-known actors in the roles, it might take away the realistic feeling. Craig T. Nelson and JoBeth Williams played the parents, and they were perfectly cast. They had chemistry and were believable as parents. The only surprise regarding their characters is that there is a scene of them rolling a joint while talking in their bedroom, but I chalk that up to modern political correctness. If a scene like that was filmed today, some people would automatically give the Freelings the bad parent label. Dominique Dunne played Dana, the teenage daughter. While there is not much to her character, I felt she played the role fine. Tragically, she was murdered by her ex-boyfriend 4 months after the film's release, the first victim of the Poltergeist curse. Zelda Rubinstein played medium Tanginia, and she was perfect in the role, her voice and height setting her apart from other This Is How We Defeat Evil characters. She and Heather O'Rourke were the only actors to appear in all 3 Poltergeist films. She passed away in 2010 at the age of 76. Academy and Tony Award winner Beatrice Straight played parapsychologist Dr. Leash, and she brought the right amount of educated grace to the role. She passed away from pneumonia in 2001. Heather O'Rourke played Carol Ann, and she brought the right amount of childhood innocence to the film. She failed her first screen test for the role because she kept laughing when she was supposed to be afraid. Despite this, Spielberg recognized there was something special about Heather, so he asked her mother to bring her back, this time with a scary storybook. He also asked her to scream. This second audition secured Heather the part. During filming, she was only scared by one scene, the one where she had to hold on to her bed headboard. Wind machines were used to create the illusion of a being trying to suck her into the closet. When she fell apart, Spielberg stopped the take and took the little girl in his arms, letting Heather know she wouldn't have to do another take of that scene. Sadly, she passed away in 1988 from intestinal stenosis during shooting of the 3rd film. Oliver Robin played Robbie, and he was very relatable. We've all been afraid of something in the dark or outside our window at one point in our childhood, and his character personified that childhood fear. Both of Robbie's terrors are taken from Spielberg's own childhood fears, and they are universal to a point: a tree outside his window, and clowns. The scenes where he's looking at the clown are ominous. The audience knows the clown is going to move at some point. The only question is when. During the later scene, there was one part where Oliver was really being strangled by the clown's arms. He cried out, "I can't breathe!" But both Spielberg and Hooper thought he was ad-libbing a line. It was only when his face began to turn purple that Spielberg ran over to pull the arms off. He gave up acting after 1986. Legendary film composer Jerry Goldsmith handled the music. His score masterfully captured both Spielberg's sense of wonder and Hooper's sense of horror. The main theme, which is written like a lullaby, is a perfect example of this contrast. The score garnered Goldsmith an Academy Award nomination, but he lost to John Williams. While a few of the film's ghost effects are jarring, a majority of the special effects still hold up after 30 years. The flesh removal scene in particular is extremely creepy and atmospheric. If I had first watched this film as a kid, it would have scared the crap out of me. It was the last scene shot during principal photography, and the hands were Steven Spielberg's. The skeletons used in the climax were real, as it was cheaper to purchase them instead of producing plastic ones. For the finale, actress JoBeth Williams wasn't worried about being in the water with them, but she was worried about being electrocuted because of the amount of electric lights on set. Spielberg comforted Williams by being in the water with her during the scenes, quipping that if a light fell into the pool, they'd both fry. The film was nominated for an Academy Award, but lost out to its more family-friendly brother. Poltergeist is the textbook definition of a cinematic classic. It has characters you care about, played by competent actors, the special effects and score are executed wonderfully, and its contrasting tone is directed excellently. Other than a few aged moments in the behind-the-scenes drama, I don't have any problems with the film. Some might have an issue with the beast not having a clear identity, but to me it's scarier not to have a clear idea of who or what the evil is, at least for a first series entry. Some might also have an issue with the cemetery, I will concede that Steven shouldn't have been the first person to take issue with what his boss did, but it wouldn't be the first time in human history that some detail was ignored in order for someone to make a profit. Plus, it makes for an excellent and chilling climax. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.